Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 11th of June. The first news is Russia deliver efficient nuclear fuel for Kudankulam project or plant. You can say. Second, Supreme Court rejects plea for special counseling for the net PG. Third, India provide credit line for fertilizers import to Sri Lanka. Now the other is a article from the explain page of Indian Express, that is environmental index and India, in which India is the last country to have such poor performance, right? So पूरे 180 countries में India की ranking सबसे last है. Now the other is the editorial building on the common ground. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So starting with the first news of the day, that is Russia delivers more efficient nuclear fuel to Kudankulam project, or you can say the Kudankulam nuclear project. So this is specifically important for General Studies Paper 2, bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So according to the Rosatom State Corporation, which is a Russia's basically company है जो कि nuclear power plant से related deal करती है, they have officially said that it has supplied the first batch of more reliable, cost efficient nuclear fuel that is existing over the other, and this nuclear fuel is type TVS-2M. Very important for prelims examination. It can be asked that TVS-2M was recently seen on news is related to which of the following, right? So this can be a possible question for the upcoming prelims. तो जो रोसाटम स्टेट कॉर्पोरेशन है रशिया की, उन्होंने कंफर्म किया है कि TVS-2M न्यूक्लियर फ्यूल्स जो हैं वो कुंदाकुलम प्रोजेक्ट्स में वो यूज़ करेंगे. एंड दिस इज फॉर द यूनिट 1 एंड यूनिट 2 ऑफ कुंदाकुलम न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट विच इज देयर इन तमिलनाडु. ऑपरेशंस की अगर बात करें, ऑपरेशंस फॉर द न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स. So once the TVS-2M fuel is used, the next refueling of the reactor will start after 18 months of the fuel recycle. So once this is completed, उसके 18 months के बाद फिर से refueling start की जाएगी. It means that the reactor which has been stopped for every 12 months after removing the fuel spent can be inserting the fuel bundles, and it will also call for a allied maintenance that will have to stop for every 18 months. So within an interval and span, the refueling process would be completed. Now, looking into the nuclear power in India, how this starts up and what are the plan. So nuclear reactors at present operational की अगर बात करें 22 है, and even for the under construction that is approved for the 10, and something the target that has been set 6,780 megawatt, and overall to come basically by the target 6,700 by 2022. And 60% of electricity are provided in India by the coal-based, and 16% are there from the renewable energy. So it is very important for a country like India to shift its energy requirement from the coal-based to the renewable energy sources, because we have a target that is also set by the 2070 for the net zero emissions. Now 22 nuclear reactors hai, as I've told you. These are the map. The other Tamil Nadu, 2 in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka में एक है, Maharashtra में एक, Rajasthan and other in the Napura. So these are the numbers. If you can see, these are the number 2. Rajasthan में total number 6, Maharashtra में number 4, again Karnataka 4, Tamil Nadu में 4. So total capacity की अगर बात करें, this is 6,780 megawatts. Now, what are the advantages of TVS-2M fuel? This can be again a possible question for the prelims, that they can UPSC can directly ask you कि क्या क्या advantages होंगे इस fuel के. So compared to the current fuel, TVS-M fuel assembles have more advantage in making them more reliable, cost efficient, according to the Rosatom basically company. Firstly, it has a rigidity of a bundle because it has Wilhelm frame जहाँ पे fuel assemblies की अगर बात करें nuclear reactor retain their geometry, and when the space grid protected by the fuel cord cladding, that is flitting wear, an additional space grader make fuel assemblies more vibration and reason. So this is something which call for a resilience of the vibration. And even if you see, अगर आप उसके pictures को देखेंगे TVSM2 है, I have not added the picture. If you can Google it, you'll find the symmetry is there. The reason being this reactor is fine that it would be arranging everything in geometrical arrangements. Now, secondly, this fuel has increased the uranium capacity, that is TVSM2M assembly, which contains 7.6% of more fuel material as compared to the other bundle. So this is the other significant advantage of this. And in addition, special feature of the Kudankulam fuel, in particular with the new generation, has anti-debris, which protect bundle from the debris damage, which may cause a small size object in the reactor core. This is what the statement has explained by the Russia's companies. Now, about the Kudankulam power plant, this is something, some basics you must know. This was actually started way back in 1988 when intergovernmental panel basically जो agreement थी वो हुई थी इंडिया और सोवियत यूनियन के बीच में, and India and Russia signed the Kudankulam agreement, which was initially aimed to set up 2 nuclear plants, right, at Tamil Nadu. Now, under the agreement, Russia is required to manufacture and deliver import of components of the power plant that provide technical supports. And Russia has also extended the credit support for the project over the years. The reason being, India has not said any statement about Russia against Russia during the ongoing war between यूक्रेन एंड रशिया, बिकॉज रशिया पे हमारी डिपेंडेंसी मिलिट्री को लेकर के न्यूक्लियर पावर को लेकर के काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. द रीजन बीइंग इंडिया हैज़ एब्सटेन फ्रॉम एनी स्टेटमेंट. द फर्स्ट pour of the concrete for the Unit 1 and Unit 2 took place in the Kudankulam, that is for the 31st March 2002. And first unit eventually has reached to the critical, that is 13 July 2030 को full capacity जो 1000 मेगावाट की कैपेसिटी रखी गई है 2014 में उसको कंप्लीट की. Now, this is India's biggest nuclear plant. It aims to improve the electricity generation in the country. You can see the images of the entire project, which is ongoing. And the project plan to install 6 VVR, that is 1000 megawatt reactor की बात की गई, और पूरे electricity capacity की बात करें इंडिया की, it would be expanding by 6000 megawatt, right? जो single capacity है वो 1000 megawatt की, so multiply by 6, it's 6000 megawatt. Now, Unit 1 of the plant was made by operational by 22nd of October 2013 and other are currently running. तो और जो टोटल हैं वो establish की जाएंगी अलग अलग cities में, अलग अलग states में भी, और उसके operations को और ज़्यादा अच्छा किया जाएगा. Another news, Supreme Court reject plea for the special counseling for the NET PG, something important for General Studies paper 2, issues related to development and management of education and human resources. So recently, the Supreme Court has dismissed a plea जहाँ पे स्पेशल स्टे राउंड ऑफ काउंसलिंग की बात की गई थी वैसे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जो मेडिकल कॉलेजेस की सीट्स वैकेंट हैं उन सीट्स को भरने के लिए ऑल इंडिया कोटे के बेसिस पे अलाउ किया जाए. बट जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की वैकेशन बेंच है उन्होंने कहा दैट द क्वालिटी मेडिकल एजुकेशन कैन नॉट बी कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड एट दिस पॉइंट. When half of the courses are completed, we cannot allow the student to be enrolled in the medical colleges, right? So the court has said that granting relief now may affect medical education and the health. कोर्ट ने और क्या ऑब्जर्वेशंस दी अपने जजमेंट में. द कोर्ट ऑब्जर्व दैट द 8th राउंड ऑफ काउंसलिंग हैज हैपेंड बिफोर द सीट रिमेन्ड वैकेंट्स, एंड इवन द कोर्ट हैज नोटेड दैट द 3-year course and no more than half term has already gone, so this is not the right time to get admitted, right? It would be burden for the student. Say at the same time the faculty would also have the burden to complete the course. It's definitely अगर इस तरह की shortfall होगी तो quality काफ़ी ज़्यादा compromise होगी. It was remarked that they cannot go any compromise with the education quality, and the top court has noted that 40,000 seats for the counseling were there and only 1,456 remained vacant, and most of them were non-clinical seats. Now, Supreme Court में जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ सबमिशंस दी हैं, एडिशनल सॉलिसिटर जनरल ऑन द बिहाफ ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया has said that the Center and Medical Counseling Committee submitted that the classes were already started in February, right? and it was decremental that if the classes will take place after 6 to 8 month, almost एक semester पूरी खत्म हो चुकी. Now the submission was made before the vacant seat that is mostly non-clinical in nature. And he explained that the non-clinical seats can only be an educational but cannot be a doctor. तो इन courses में जो लोगों को खास करके enroll की जाएगी, they would be not ending their career as a doctor. NASG has also submitted that depositing fee and non-take-ups with them, and government is not looking forward to enroll them. The ASG said that only 1,456 seats, that is out of 1,100 seats, were in private institutions, 300 in government college, and further submitted that private colleges' fees are too high in comparison to the government colleges. Now, the other news, India provide credit line for fertilizer import to Sri Lanka, something important for general studies paper 2, India and its neighborhood relations. सो इंडिया ने अपने प्रोएक्टिव रोल्स में बेसिकली नई एफर्ट्स के तौर पे 55 मिलियन की लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट दी है श्रीलंका को, जहाँ पे वो फर्टिलाइजर्स के इंपोर्ट कर पाएंगे. सो द एफर्ट बाय इंडिया इन द बिड टू हेल्प द श्रीलंकन कंट्रीज, जहाँ पे वर्स्ट इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस से श्रीलंका गुजर रही है. सिंस इंडिपेंडेंस श्रीलंका हैज़ नेवर सीन सच deep recession and worst economic crisis. So the latest credit facility would help to ensure that the ability of urea is being used in the upcoming Yela season. Yela season क्या होता है? Yela season is then effective during the period of May and end of August. And just to give you a reminder, basically जब श्रीलंका की चाइना के साथ एग्रीमेंट थी तो उन्होंने चाइना से बहुत सारा fertilizers मंगाया था, but that fertilizer were not good. Even it was impacting their crop. The reason being they have returned their fertilizers. तो रिटर्न करने में जो कॉस्टिंग गई श्रीलंका की वो भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा थी. सो बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिसमैच हुई. पुअर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड पुअर मैनेजमेंट की वजह से श्रीलंका की ये हालत हुई. सो श्रीलंका हैज़ रिक्वेस्टेड अ क्रेडिट फैसिलिटी फ्रॉम इंडिया for the import of the urea, that is 65,000 metric tons, in order to cater the immediate requirement for the Yela cultivation season, जो कि मई से लेकर के अगस्त के बीच में होती है. And India has agreed to provide dollar credit amounting to 55 million. That is the procurement for the urea from India. And Sri Lanka Finance Minister has signed an agreement with the Exim Bank to obtain the dollar credit limit. And the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka has recently warned that a food crisis may also arise because of the ongoing crisis, national crisis, which is emerging in Sri Lanka. Now, restrictions to the import of chemical fertilizers. Sri Lanka has suffered a crop loss nearly 50% due to the decision by the president, जहाँ पे उन्होंने जो chemical fertilizers की जो import है उसको पूरी तरह से बंद कर दी थी, which has impacted the agriculture to a larger extent. And he later admitted that it was a wrong decision. उन्होंने बाद में इसको admit किया, स्वीकारा that this was a decision which was not aligned with the government progress, even for the nation progress, and having steadfastly maintained that the island nation should be have organic rather than the chemical farming. So definitely organic farming is always feasible. It take time, but it help the country even to improve the soil quality also. Assistance by India. India has previously granted credit line of fuel for the essential food items, and Sri Lanka is ongoing through the worst economic crisis since 1948. तो जो 1948 में भी सिचुएशन इस तरह की वर्स्ट नहीं थी जिस तरह से अभी है. The economic crisis has prompted acute shortage of essential food items. जहाँ पे medicine, cooking gases, fuels, toilet papers, and other items are missing, and even the outsider are unable to buy fuel and cooking gases. So this is something again a grave situation which is emerging from our immediate neighbor, that is Sri Lanka. Now this is the explained news from the Indian Express, that is Environment Index in India, something important for general studies paper 2, conservation, environmental pollution degradation, and EIA, that is environmental impact assessment. So this news is very important because India की अगर ranking की बात करें, India सबसे last rank पे है at bottom, that is 180. So the newly released Environmental Performance Index for 2022, which is again released by Yale and Columbia University, have ranked India as a bottom position at 180 countries, right? और इंडिया ने रिक्वेस्ट की है, इंडिया हैज़ क्वेश्चंस, एंड इवन नॉट रिक्वेस्टेड एक्चुअली, इंडिया हैज़ क्वेश्चंस दैट जिस तरह से रैंकिंग मिली है उसकी मेथडोलॉजी गलत है. दिस इज बिटर ट्रूथ दैट जिस भी कंट्री की रैंकिंग पुअर आएगी, स्पेसिफिकली इंडिया, तो गवर्नमेंट उसको डिफेंड ज़रूर करेगी. बट अगेन दीज आर द टॉप इंस्टीट्यूशंस और इस रैंकिंग में इंडिया कभी 150 के अंदर भी नहीं रही. So India has ranked 151 on the waste and 121 on the solid management. So top countries की अगर बात करें, Denmark ranked 1, UK 2, Finland 3, Malta 4, Sweden 5, Luxembourg 6, Slovenia 7 and Austria is 8. So these are the top countries. बॉटम कंट्रीज की बात करें, सबसे बॉटम पे इंडिया की रैंकिंग है, उसके ऊपर म्यांमार, वियतनाम, बांग्लादेश, इवन पाकिस्तान हैज परफॉर्म बेटर देन इंडिया. So this is something which is very astonishing fact that this poor performance was there by country like India. Now what is EPI index? जो environmental performance index है, is an international ranking system based on the environmental health. Biennial index है ये, और 2002 में स्टार्ट की गई थी, जहाँ पे ये कोशिश की जाती है कि जो environmental sustainability index है वो प्रिपेयर किया जाए, and collaborated by the World Economic Forum and Yale University or Yale Center. Even Columbia University is part of it. So if it is being asked examination कि कौन कौन से इंस्टीट्यूशन इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करती है, so these are the correct answers. परफॉर्मेंस इंडिकेटर्स की बात करें, पूरी 40 इंडिकेटर्स है जिन पे असेस की जाती है 80 कंट्रीज की, 180 कंट्रीज की, एंड इवन सम मेजर्स हाउ द क्लोज कंट्रीज have used their international establishments even for some specific issues. These 40 indicators have a broad categories जहाँ पे performance, environmental health, ecosystem की जो vitality सारी चीज़ों को जज की जाती है. The 2022 Environmental Performance Index include the new parameters, which is the earlier assessment with projections of net zero emissions target by 2050, although India has set a target for 2070 and not 2050. And the indicators, other quality indicators, sustainable pesticides. So these are the latest trend that has been added. Now EPI की जो assessment है इंडिया को लेकर के, मैंने आपको पहले बताया, the ranking for India is 180 and other score is 18.9. India has fallen from the rank, जहाँ पे earlier ranking 168 थी, अब वापस और performance poor होके 180 हो गई है. So India comes after Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Myanmar. These are the poor. Even Denmark is the top scorer. I have given you a chart. You can recall from there. You can take the screenshot of the chart. Now, India has also scored low on the rule of law, control of the corruptions, government effectiveness. This is what the report has quoted categorically. Now, definitely government of India would raise objections to this because ranking इतनी poor है, तो government को defend करने के अलावा और कोई option बचेगा नहीं. So the government has defended this. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has said that these indicators use assessing performance and extrapolated the based subsummarized and unscientific method. This is what the government of India has said. And Ministry of Energy cited कि जो baseline data है that is not aligned and no explanation was given for the weightage that was assigned to the indicators. The ministry said that shifting of weightage on many indicators has resulted in India's low ranking, and the government has objected the calculation of greenhouse projections, which like 2050 Indian net zero emissions की target कुछ आगे के लिए रखी. Even India has set net zero emission for 2070 with unlikely to develop that have set by 2050. So सिर्फ एक ये कारण की वजह से इतनी ज़्यादा रैंकिंग खराब नहीं हो सकती. We can understand that if the institution is ranking everyone upon 2050 और इंडिया ने 2070 की है, तो सिर्फ इस टारगेट पे हमारी परफॉर्मेंस इतनी पुअर नहीं हो सकती है. दे आर लिस्ट ऑफ कैटेगरीज, हर एक 40 पैरामीटर्स पे उन्होंने रैंकिंग की है. सो और सारे पैरामीटर्स पे भी इंडिया को ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है. Now India objections with the projections. The government has said that the projection for greenhouse emission has computed the average change, जहाँ पे last 10 year में ये देखा गया that accounted for renewable energy and even additional use carbon sink energy efficiency की बात की गई, but जो result आनी चाहिए वो नहीं है. It said that the carbon sink that mitigate greenhouse gases such as forest, wetland has not been taken into account. This is what Government of India has highlighted in its criticism. And India's low emission trajectory under the historical trajectories has developed. This was also significantly ignored. Another objection that were raised by India was that index emphasized to the extent of protected areas rather than the quality of protected and afford. उसके बाद जो computation of biodiversity की बात की गई है, so the biodiversity indication does not factor the management of effectiveness evaluation of the protected areas. These were the point that India highlighted that why these indicators were not taken into consideration before they make the EPI. Index compute the extent of ecosystem but not their condition or productivity. And even indicators such as agrobiodiversity, soil health, food losses, waste, like these are the important indicators that were not taken because government of India has said that India is larger and agrarian population. तो ये सारे indicators इंडिया के लिए काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होंगे बट अगेन दे कैन नॉट गो साइमल्टेनियसली देयर इज समथिंग लूप होल्स दैट एग्जिस्ट सो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया नीड टू वर्क ऑन दैट एज वेल. Now, way forward की अगर बात करें, despite the inconsistency, government should not ignore the fact that India was ranked 168 in 2020 among the 150 countries since the index was started. And even the EPI that has does not several local environment issues, it has highlighted the reported that these things need to be addressed immediately. India की कभी भी ranking 150 से ऊपर नहीं रही है. So this itself shows that India's performance are not good. Now moving to the editorial of the day, that was the explain page. Now this is an editorial building on common ground, important for general studies paper 2, bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So this particular editorial focuses upon the Indo-Pacific economic framework, which was recently launched by the United States. तो इस एडिटोरियल में आपको सिंप्लीफाई करूंगा पूरे एडिटोरियल को 5 इंपॉर्टेंट सबहेड्स में. द फर्स्ट इज about the Indo-economic framework, key pillars of IPEF, significance of IPEF, data concern for India, and the way forward. So US has recently launched India Pacific Economic Framework. एक ऐसी डी फैक्टो फॉरेन पॉलिसीज हैं जो कि एशिया जैसे कंट्रीज के लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है एंड इंडिया हैव लॉडेड द एफर्ट्स विच वाज मेड बाय द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. सो IPEF includes the United States, region of Asian countries, which has praised the potential, particularly जहाँ पे US administrations ने एशिया पे अपनी इतनी ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट दिखाई है, and even not only for Asia, for the entire Indo-Pacific, basically United States they are focusing upon. Now about Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, IPF is a US-led initiative that aims to strengthen the partnership among the countries to enhance resilience, sustainability, inclusiveness, economic growth, fairness, competitiveness in the Indo-Pacific region. If you're writing in mains paper, ये जितने वर्डिंग्स हैं ये सारे वर्डिंग्स आपको वहाँ पे यूज़ करने हैं. दिस ओनली गिव एन एडवांटेज टू द स्टूडेंट जहाँ पे आपको एग्जामिनर एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स देने के लिए पिच करता है. ही इज़ मोटिवेटेड टू गिव यू एन एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स. तो मेक श्योर आप इस तरह के वर्डिंग्स जितने भी आपको मिलते हैं जिस भी एग्रीमेंट्स में उसको एज इट इज आप जरूर लिखिए कॉपी में. IPF was launched with a dozen initial partner who represent 40% of the total GDP. Again, factual data. And IPF is not a trade or investment agreement between the 13 signatory. कौन-कौन से member countries मैं आपको बताऊंगा. So these are the participating countries which include India, Australia, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, New Zealand, United States, Republic of Korea, and Brunei. So these are the member countries of Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Key pillars क्या हैं? The framework has some important pillars which include digital economy, supply chain, clean energy, and governance. और फोकस क्या की गई है कोविड-19 के बाद बेसिकली जो इन्फ्लेशन है सारी कंट्री की फोकस वहाँ पे है और सप्लाई चेन की जो स्टॉक्स हैं उसे कैसे ठीक किया जा सके. To devise new standard for the US domestic agenda, specifically the climate change, tax evasions, worker rights, and retain America technology primacy. Now, what are the focus area? As I've told you, trade is something very important to build high standard, inclusive, free, fair, and trade commitments. Supply chain में transparency की बात की गई है, secure, sustainable, and make resilience well integrated. Clean energy में decarbonize infrastructure to accelerate and develop the deployment of clean energy and technologies, and also tax and anti-corruptions to promote fair corruptions by enforcing robo-tax, anti-money laundering, and anti-bribery regimes. Significance क्या है IPEF की? Globally, IPEF has a multilateral attempt where it aims to boost the supply chain resilience, ease of global inflationary pressures, मिटिगेट द फ्यूचर डिस्ट्रप्शंस और जितने भी रॉ मटेरियल्स है क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स हैं सेमी कंडक्टर्स हैं उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी सारे मेंबर्स कंट्रीज को करवाना. IPEF is also a negotiator with high standard rules between like-minded countries that govern digital economy, particularly data flow, propel climate mitigations. And it endeavors in the global economy towards the equitable global tax, anti-money, and anti-bribery provisions. So these are some of the major significance of the IPEF. डेटा कंसर्न इंडिया ने रेस की है। बेसिकली जो यूएस की प्रेफरेंस है वो कोशिश ये कर रही है इस इनिशिएटिव्स के थ्रू कि वो फ्री और ओपन डेटा की फ्लो करे अक्रॉस द कंट्रीज, अक्रॉस द इकोनॉमी एंड द डोमेस्टिक पर्पसेस। बट इंडिया की अभी तक कोई डोमेस्टिक लेजिस्लेशन नहीं है इस लॉ को, डेटा को लेकर के। तो इंडिया कंसर्न है दैट इंडिया वुड बी कमिंग विद द लॉ, राइट? सो इंडियाज डिलेड data protection legislation favors government in regulation and landing the data despite the recent concession was made in the share of burden with the foreign domestic firms. So India is looking forward to strengthen this process, but again इस पर्टिकुलर जो IPF की जो कंसर्न है वो फ्री और ओपन डेटा की बात की थी, तो ये कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी हो रही है इंडिया की लेजिस्लेशन को ध्यान में रख के। So should US push to the liberal data flow standard, it will create a difficult choice for India, that it will have an inability to settle the prevailing data governance quandaries. Now, what is a way forward that you can write in paper? India has been vocal about free, open Indo-Pacific, and India, Australia members and ASEAN have also expressed a common view that India play a greater role in this region. सो इंडिया के लिए एक ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इनिशिएटिव है जहाँ पे बैकिंग ऐसे इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्रीज़ की है जिसको इंडिया में काफ़ी ज़्यादा, इंडिया के लिए इंडो पैसिफिक में और खास करके इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन में जहाँ पे चाइना की डोमिनेंस काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, तो चाइना को काउंटर करने के लिए ये सारे कंट्रीज़ इंडिया को एड करेंगे कहीं ना कहीं। इंडिया is keen to collaborate with the partner countries under the IPEF, which is something advancing regional economic connectivity, irrigations or integrations, boosting trade, investment within the region. So these are the way forward that you can conclude with your answers in the mains paper. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question also, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, making peace with nature, कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पब्लिश करती है? UNEP, IPCC, FAO or World Wildlife Fund for Nature. So do check it out for the correct options. Second, vertical short range surface to air missile. It is developed by DRDO and it is capable of neutralizing various aerial sea threat targets, including the sea skimming target. So do check it out for the correct options. If you have any other concern, you can even reach out to us. And this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. Thank you so much for watching this video.